Red light means record?
Yep.
Hey, welcome back to the Backstairs Podcast.
Welcome back. I've never been here before.
Yes, you have. It was a long time ago now.
We've done a lot of fun things in this room.
We have done some fun things in this arts room of mine. We're doing the podcast from my house tonight.
It's a pretty awesome room that you have here. I told you before, I'm super jealous.
You should be jealous.
Well, you put a lot of time into it.
Yeah.
Put a lot of love and...
Kathy put a lot of the time into it too, but
Kathy, friend of the show.
Yeah. Hopefully, hopefully she's a friend of mine. Anyways,
well, we'll see after tonight how much noise we make.
Yeah. She didn't have a problem with us doing the podcast tonight, so she's still my friend right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just the two of us.
It is kind of intimate.
Aaron's at rehearsal,
and Janelle's at rehearsal.
Janelle's at rehearsal.
Everybody's at rehearsal, but us.
We're not at rehearsal.
No, we're not rehearsing. We're just going for it.
I'm okay with Janelle being at rehearsal because she auditioned. We knew about it. She prepared our hearts.
Yes.
Aaron just walks into it like he's just, the star of...
He fell into it.
Oh, man. It must be nice.
Yeah.
I haven't had a lead role since the last time I auditioned for one. No, but Aaron, he's doing Clue. We've talked a little bit. Well, we talked a lot about Clue last couple weeks ago.
Yep.
But yeah, very excited for him.
Wadsworth.
Yeah, I still haven't figured that out because there's no Wadsworth piece in the game as we've gone over.
There's not.
But
there's no Wadsworth. But there is a Tim Curry in the movie.
Yes.
You've seen the movie.
Yeah.
And
he's trying to one-up you on the Tim Curry characters.
Yeah, that's right.
Tim Curry obviously played King Arthur, and Scott played King Arthur in the show that used to not be named. So...
But we can name it now. It's called Spamalot.
Anyway, so going into this week, I'll admit I was nervous thinking about just the two of us doing this.
Yeah.
Like, are we going to be entertaining enough? Is Aaron the backbone of the entertainment? And then I quickly was like, no. But
he's he's more like the, I don't know, the diaphragm.
Well, supportive.
Right. Yeah.
Up and down.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we're missing our diaphragm. You can't live without your diaphragm.
That's
so
true.
What are we going to do?
We can sing, I Can't Live.
We can't do that. We'd be demonetized.
Oh.
I mean, we're not monetized, but no. So anyway, thinking about this week and like, what do we do? Just the two of us, and what do we talk about? And then we were going to have a guest, but then again, we don't have a guest.
There's no guest.
No guest.
No. I've seen guests before. This is not it. Well, we do have John Lennon. John Lennon is here.
So it's just you and I in a box of tissues.
Doug Panch is here.
Doug Panch.
Yeah, he's looking at you from behind.
Over us. Doug Panch always.
Yeah, he's always looking over. Yes.
But anyway, so I guess we're going to have to improvise.
Oh, man. That's a great idea. Let's improvise.
Okay.
How do you do that?
I don't know. We're going to have to do it.
Well, I learned a couple of things about improvisation.
Yeah. So you went somewhere.
I did.
Can you share a little details? Have you ever
remember
shared?
The world? Well, not really. Not really. A little bit, but not much.
Well, I think people would like to know.
Okay. I'll tell them. So back in 2019, before the world went to shiitake mushrooms.
I remember that.
Yep. I was able to go do a week-long intensive workshop at a place they call I.O.
I.O. stands for?
Improv Olympic.
Makes sense.
In Chicago. Most people think improv in Chicago, they think Second City.
Or Second City. Yeah.
Second City, right. But they're all kind of intermingled there, and Chicago's the mecca of improv.
Sure.
And of course,
so many amazing.
Everybody went there. So what they had was this big old warehouse type building where they built a bar and a restaurant in the center, and off it they had all these little theaters. They had 4 downstairs, 4 upstairs. Huge building. But little 50 to 100 seat theaters in a couple might have been maybe more like 30 or 40 people in there. And during the day, they taught improv classes, and at night they had improv shows. And so I got to go there for a week-long intensive. IO was created by Del Close and Charna Halpern, who are legends in the improv world. They had everybody there. They had all the pictures of the people that have been there or trained there, and it was, the who's who. I got to do some improv in one of the theaters that was called the Chris Farley Cabaret, and it was quite the experience.
Yeah.
So we spent like 8 hours a day for 5 days in a row doing improv, and it was a blast. Absolute blast.
Wow.
Yep. So I had these big plans because all I really wanted to do was learn improv for Improv.
Yeah.
But so we had this idea to do some improv with OMPA, Oxford Hills Music and Performing Arts Association, and have an improv troupe called Improv. So I got some training in that. I also looked at using improv in my work life.
Sure.
Do you want to know why?
Well, I could probably guess where it could come in handy.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm sure it definitely opens up people's minds to.
Right.
You're talking about like using it with your clients.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And training staff as well.
Okay.
To be, more understanding, because when you talk about improv, everybody gets this idea of like, whose line is it anyway? Or,
sure. Yeah.
And those are games, and that show is made to be funny, but the rules of improv aren't made to make you funny. The rules of improv are made to make you listen and be present in the moment.
Sure.
And accepting of what your partner gives you, build on that, and you take it from there.
Gotcha.
So, improv actually was created for helping young immigrant children ways to integrate into society.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, because Viola Spolin, who was not the mother of the guy who started Second City, was a social worker and worked with social workers and teaching these kids games.
Oh my goodness!
You
learned that there?
I learned some there, some through reading. I've read a bunch about it.
Wow.
So
yeah, I've never dug into it that much, as much as you have. Obviously,
it goes pretty deep.
Some of the people that have come out of that facility in that city. Oh my gosh.
Well, you think about everybody with Second City. They had everybody on SNL pretty much went to Second City, but so many other actors started out there, like George Wendt from Norm from Cheers, and a lot of the guys that have been in a lot of the Judd Apatow movies went through there. You like Scrubs?
Oh, I love Scrubs.
The janitor.
Yeah,
great character.
Great character.
He's
wow,
huge. He still goes back and does improv there at IO and stuff. Yeah. It's a great training for theater, of course, and it's a lot of fun. Second City used improv a lot to get ideas for their sketches that they would create. They'd improvise something and play around with it for a little while, and then come up, and that would help them get the creative juices flowing to make a sketch. Del Close saw the actual act of improv as an art form itself.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, of course it is.
So that's why he created what they called the Herald.
Okay. What is that?
It's a improv game.
Okay. Do you mind sharing how you do it?
It's a little complicated. You get first of all, you get teams of, you want probably 6 or 7 or 8 people.
Mm-hmm.
And you just start out playing a yes and game, just a quick game, word association type of thing. And then it leads into, okay, It leads into some scene, just some suggestion. They'll probably start out asking the crowd, you just throw out a word, give us a suggestion. They start out with a little word association game, and it kind of leads into a scene. They start acting out a scene, and then it'll get edited, right? And they'll do 3 quick little scenes. They get edited, don't have to do with anything really. And then they'll stop those 3 scenes and they'll go into another game. Something will lead into another game, and then they'll go back into the game, the scenes again, which will kind of associate with the previous scenes, and it's all just made up right on the spot. It's something to see.
You shared clips with me before.
Yeah,
and I think that was one of them.
That was a game. Yeah, I mean, but yes, and that's your basis rule for improv.
Mm-hmm.
Your partner gives you something, you might ask for a suggestion from the crowd, and then your partner starts off and he gives you something, and you accept that and build on it. You never say no. So you say yes, and so give me something about telephones.
Okay. I sold 42 telephones last week.
Yes, that is probably a record, isn't it?
Yes, and none of them worked.
Yes, and then there was that lawsuit they coming at you with, I heard.
Yeah, well, yeah, it happened because when you sell 42 phones in a week and none of them work, typically that's fraud.
Yes, and there might have been some battery on the part of the other people that came in.
No, there were batteries in the phone.
Oh, okay.
The battery was the issue.
The battery was
the activation part of it.
I got you.
They were great. You could play games
and see
and pictures.
Great, but I mean that's a quick.
I don't know if I'd be good with the yes and.
You did just fine.
I don't get that part. What do I have to say?
It's
yes
just
and?
you don't have to say yes and.
As long as your
it's
body
the part of accepting and building on that.
Gotcha.
That's it. It's not saying I sold 10 phones yesterday. No, I didn't. I just the no's never going to go anywhere.
No, I was just kidding. I understand the idea of the yes and. I think that's pretty cool to just be able to go back and forth.
Yeah, and you can do that with just word association or and alphabet wise, but those are just games that they would use to start the scenes.
Unfortunate. I grew up in such a sarcastic family aspect that no one even really tried, but you have that wittiness and the sarcasm that lead to you can just bull crap your way through anything. So.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. So what was the biggest thing that you took from that? I mean, you must have you came home excited to teach, excited to share.
Yeah.
But there must have been something. I mean, what was the biggest thing you took from that experience?
I think it was the cojones to just do it.
Well, so that's
go for it.
You must have built some confidence.
Well, I had gotten some, starting out in theater and getting out on stage, and that had given me some confidence, and it taught me to, go for something that I really wanted. I'd not done that for so long, and when I finally did, it kind of the dam broke loose. And then
was it a validating experience at all?
Oh yeah, it was great.
Because you showed that you already had those skills.
I guess I didn't realize it. But yeah, I was initially just looking to start the improv troupe, and then learning how the tenets of improv are great for everyday life. Just being able to accept and being present in the moment, really listening to someone who's talking to you, and you're not listening to reply. You're just being there in the moment, present.
I think that's unique too. I know that a lot of people have trouble learning lines.
Yep.
How I learn my lines is by knowing what is said before that line. I don't ever typically go through lines and remember my line as much. I know what line comes before my line.
Right.
And what helps is that what would be the logical response to what that person is saying as my character. And I know that with Spam-A-Lot, my characters, I had several different parts where it was just utter nonsense. And the words were so similar and so close.
Yeah.
And I had to really think about, if this character said or did this to me, what would my natural response be? And it helped me learn those lines.
Yeah.
You have that iconic scene of the father, Herbert's father, coming out and arguing with the guards. And I never would have got through that if I hadn't just like listened to Kelsey's line and known what to say and reply. And yeah, that's quite the skill.
Yeah.
We'll just go back and forth and I think it's a practical skill to use other places as well. So you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you come back from that.
Yep. I come back all excited and getting ready to get going. I started, this was fall. I was, I had been talking with Kelsey, Carla Rose. We were going to get, we started planning with the board, got a budget approval, and was going to start doing workshops and seeing what we could get going for a team. We had a couple of, kind of improv show gigs lined up. At least one. There was another possibility of two. And, with the hopes of, really doing something with it. And the axe fell. The world stopped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was, that's something I never really talked about much is, that I was crushed. I put improv away and was like, yeah, screw it. I never want to do it again. I don't want to do it because they started doing it online.
Yeah.
And people would get into these Zoom groups and just do improv. And I couldn't do it. You can't, there's that delay in there. People talking over each other. It just, I hated it. I hated it. So I threw it away and was done with it. I was just so depressed from I know everybody else was having a great time and I was miserable, but
yeah, I don't think that we'll ever fully go back to what was before. I mean, it's crazy especially when you take people that thrive in community and thrive in performing and to be able to take that away from them, that's completely different. I don't know. It's funny. I had people
it was horrible.
Would come into my store and talk about, I haven't seen my mom in a year.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. And it was hard relating because what sucked for me is that I hadn't sang in a year. You know, that I hadn't sang with other people that that was such a mental blow. Yeah. So you would put so much planning into that and to have to put it on a back burner. That must have been.
Yeah. It was tough.
That must have been rough.
It was tough. Now finally we can hopefully get something going again. Yeah.
So you definitely have some interest in kind of getting going again.
Yeah. Lori Riamaki, who's a friend of the show.
Oh yeah, she's a friend of the show.
Been on the show. Probably have her back eventually. Of course, she's a bit busy right now with the little show called what?
Clue. On stage.
On stage, right? Not the off stage.
I don't know anyone in it.
No, nobody. Everybody but us at this point now, John, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see Clue. I purposely have not really. So I've never seen the movie.
No?
No. And I've kind of.
Probably put it on the TV in the background.
Well, at this point, I don't want to. I'd rather see it after the fact.
Yeah.
I've had a couple times where we've queued it up and I just haven't played it. So I don't know. I'm excited to see how different it is. I want to give it a fighting chance. Yeah. So.
Have you seen the play before?
I've seen the musical. I've never seen the play.
Oh, I've never seen the musical.
Yeah, the musical is awesome.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
So, and Aaron Luke had shared that they're different in some ways. And so, yeah, I'm excited.
Well, yeah, the play, they don't have music. So that's different.
There's music.
Well, I mean, it's not a musical.
Oh,
they're not singing.
Oh, all right. No, there's definitely music.
Aaron's not going to break out the glitter spandex, right?
There will be
Start
no
dancing.
fruit platter between his thighs. So,
well, I don't know.
no, I'm confident.
Okay.
I'm confident there's no fruit platter.
All right.
So, I mean, we're back. You're back in this world, right? Restrictions have lifted.
Yep.
It's possible to do this again.
It is. It
Oh,
is. And
and-
we're slowly trying to get a group together. We've got a logo, and we got to get the social media going. I've been busy with work. Laurie's been busy with the show, but eventually we're gonna get this going, and we're gonna get it going this year at least, to get some get-togethers, monthly get-together, get a group of people, and just start playing some games, and hopefully pique the interest of a group of people that want to play. And then Laurie and I have got some ideas about doing some shows over at the Garden, possibly, or 290 or other places. The Victorian on Main could be a good spot for it.
What is Laurie's background with improv? I don't know if I know.
Well, she's theater, so she's done. She's taking classes in college and stuff.
Sure.
I believe she had a friend. Well, I'm sure she still got the friend, but I think she had a friend that went to IO on a regular basis for a while, lived there and stuff. I believe we've talked about. So she's, I mean, the theater majors that go to school, they tend to take an improv class or two, and some people get into it more. And she's gone to see a bunch of shows, and it's a lot of fun just to go see a show. They don't do a lot around here. A lot of the improv you see around here is like dinner theater stuff, and it's or just the games like they play on Whose Line.
So as I've shared, I grew up on SNL.
Right.
I mean, I'm heavily invested in old SNL sketches and new ones. And I mean, Chris Farley, I know probably everything that Chris Farley's ever done. And,
right.
And so that is my view of improv, that everything is for the laugh. Everything is for, if the scene isn't doing what it needs to, then inject some funniness into it, right? That to keep the scene going is the primary responsibility, right?
Well, that's what they're doing on SNL. So they're going for the laugh.
Exactly. So, but that's my background in improv. Yeah. But I mean, the world is much bigger than that when it comes to the art of improv.
And the biggest thing about improv is don't try to be funny. It is actually, it's funny as being like the natural byproduct of doing improv. Because if you're present in the moment, listening and being honest and truthful, just go with the honest answer. The honest response is usually the funniest response.
Sure.
Or as we found out about this serious story and your troubles you had last week, or just recently, we just heard the story came out this week. That was a serious story. Your car got hit. I mean, you lost your phone for a while.
Insane.
You fell on the slippery.
Who could have predicted that story would have more listens or views than anything we've done with the podcast?
Because we love to laugh at the honest, true story.
Yeah, well,
those are always the funniest.
Aaron did a good job editing it. I think that probably contributed a little bit to it.
It did, but it wasn't edited when we were.
There was no humor edited into it. Yes, I know.
And I was laughing the entire time.
I could tell. Yeah. And it was perfect how well it was executed. There was a lemon seltzer the whole time. Anyway, whatever. We got there, and it made for a funny clip. So
it was a good sacrifice on your part, John.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. You took one for the team.
So you have a book here. Were you going to share something? Or
I don't know. Truth and Comedy.
Okay.
That is written by Del Close.
Okay.
Sharna Halpern. And one Kim Howard Johnson, who's another improviser, teacher, writer.
You think after almost 2 years of doing this, you would know to not share important details over here?
I should.
You literally just said their names, and like half of the name went into the microphone.
Yeah.
So who was the last person?
Who? Kim Howard Johnson.
It was like this. You went Kim Howard Johnson.
I don't know why I did that.
It's like you were taking a breath. Anyway, so
it might have been. It was a long name. Kim Howard Johnson. That's a long name. I needed a breath in between.
My dad worked at Howard Johnson's as a kid. I wonder if she's the heir of the whole Howard Johnson fortune.
I think, yeah. I actually think it's a guy.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Well, Kim
Howard Johnson. Kim
Howard Johnson.
Kim Howard Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Howard's in quotation marks, so I don't know what that means. But I think it's a guy. Pretty sure.
You didn't share the quotation. Anyway.
I didn't, but I mean.
I get it now. I get it. He's a guy.
I think so.
Anyway.
Some guys are named Kim.
So what yeah.
No girls are named Howard, are they?
You're wrong.
No?
There must be.
All right.
If you are
a female named Howard.
Let us know.
Yes.
What's the book about though?
So it's truth in comedy. It's being honest and truthful in the, art of improv. Because that's always the funniest thing.
Okay.
Don't go for the joke. If you go for the joke, you're going to lose the crowd.
See, I don't know if that's true.
There's probably times, but you're talking about sketches with SNL.
No,
as opposed
I'm talking about like real. Like I know myself by now, right on stage. Mm-hmm. I typically know what I can get out of an audience.
Yeah,
I know what plays with my body language, or and I think that's part of we all have different, things we do well. But I'll share. So it's Spamalot.
Right.
We, we had to fake follow you around the country.
Right.
Right. King Arthur and his knights. And we followed you around the stage out back. And I knew from very early on, and of course I was having some troubles with my back really badly during that. And I knew very early on that doing the marching just wasn't going to play. Like I could, and my character is supposed to be a little kind of dumb, and he's numb for sure.
Yeah.
And so I knew dress rehearsal. I didn't do it into dress rehearsal, but I knew that I had to play it off like I was lazy almost.
Yeah.
That I was just gonna walk around. And that first night,
getting kind of sick of this traveling around the country, man.
And the first night, I watched all of you, and I'm sitting on this stool, and I watched all of you. I was like, I got to do it, and I just walked behind all of you and just kind of, and like I'm dragging my shield on the ground, and the amount of laughter that came from that.
Yeah,
and I instantly, before I even did it, I knew that it was gonna play.
Oh.
And I don't know. There are things like that in my personal theater life that I've added because I knew it was going to get the laugh.
Yeah. I mean, of course that stuff works.
Okay.
But the truth in comedy, it's an improv book.
Oh, yeah.
So it's when you're doing the improv is, yes, you're improvising. It can be a little broad.
I am a broad.
Yeah.
I'm not a broad, but I'm broad.
You're broad.
These skills are super important.
Mm-hmm.
But I almost feel that sometimes it could be a pretty narrow. I think taking these skills and applying them in other areas is super important.
Yeah.
Do you think that happens enough?
No.
Because when I hear improv, I get a little, not scared, but a little like, okay. Like I feel like the experiences I have with knowing people that have done improv, that's the lane they stay in.
Yeah.
They do improv forever. That's just what they're doing improv.
Yeah.
They like the improv classes or the improv lessons or like the times that you just get together and play off each other. And I don't know. I like the idea of the sketches and being very loose and just kind of building as it goes. Or
well, who knows what you can build from there. I mean, look at all the people that have done improv that we know of. I mean, they didn't just stay there. Some of them did, but most of them went on to, great or really good acting careers, or made a great career in acting.
We talked about improv. What's your hope for improv, like 2 years from now? What do you see? You see, obviously, like the garden
I hope I get a good group of people that want to have some fun with it and see where it goes from there. And maybe we end up creating sketches that could work someplace else. From that experience. I just want to have some fun with it.
Yeah,
for the most part, and get some people into it. I had a lot of fun then. We did a little bit at the Arts Festival, probably the summer before. Must have been the summer before.
It was the summer before you left.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. You want to take a break?
Sure.
All right. Oh, back from break. That was a good little break.
That was a great break.
We did really nice.
We did so many things.
We break danced.
we broke dance because we broke dance. Anyway,
you might as well dance. Well, I mean, people when they're broke, sometimes they gotta go dance for their money.
A lot of people. It tends to be the theme.
Yep.
Talking about improv today. Talking about improv tonight.
Today. This day. Yes, we are.
And so there are so many different ways to practice improv, to games and different. Well, I don't know what I'm talking about. So
you don't?
Right. Well, no, I probably do. But.
Well, I mean, you if you've seen Whose Line, they have the scenes from a hat.
I love Whose Line.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's always fun using props. You just take something out of a hat and with a suggestion, and you create a scene. Usually something that prop is something different than what it actually looks like. You pick up a handheld can opener and it's not a can opener. What is it? Dimensional splitter.
A handheld can opener?
Yeah. It's a handheld dimensional splitter.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It can be anything you want.
Anything.
Right. See, I mean, improv is just, you have an imagination like a kid, remember when you took the spoon out to the yard and started digging, you were going to dig your way to China?
I never did that.
You didn't do that?
But I was infamous for finding sticks that looked like guns.
Oh, yeah. Well, you had to have sticks that looked like guns and lightsabers.
Arsenal of, it became lightsabers eventually, lightsaber hilts. But at first it was guns. I had AKs and, pretty much just AKs. At the time, I didn't really know what any other gun was, but right. No, but I love doing that.
Yep.
I was big on, we used to build bamboo forts. We had a ton of bamboo where we grew up.
That stuff grows like crazy.
And you could count on every spring or early summer, there was a whole new forest of bamboo.
Yeah.
And you could break trails through it and make stuff out of it and swords. And I mean, that was our go-to. And you could see the whole house that you built. And I mean, my dad would come out and be like, just bamboo. But my dad, though, the reason that I led up to this is my dad, in school, he wasn't very interested in school, had some learning disabilities, probably that were undiagnosed. But he grew up in a junkyard and would draw like stock cars, wreckers, junk cars. And even to this day, my dad's a fantastic artist. I've talked a little bit about it. But he had an art teacher one time that that really tried to show him perspective.
Yeah.
Drawing perspective. And so he is so good at he'll draw like a scene of a field and there'll be a junk car here and a smaller junk car, and you could tell the distance between them. He's just so good at that forced perspective.
That's cool. I'm always so jealous of people that can draw.
Yeah, he's anything living, forget about it.
Yeah.
But if it's still, oh my gosh, he's so good.
Yeah, I grew up with, I have a nephew who's 10 months younger than I am. And so
I have one of those too.
he grew up more like my best friend, not my nephew. And we drew as kids, and he was automatically 10 times better than
really?
I was, and now he's a million times better. That Beatles picture behind you, he drew that. That's a print of his drawing, but it's his drawing.
Yeah,
and he,
just mega talent.
Oh, so good. And I've always been so jealous of that.
Yeah, it's envious for sure.
Yeah. Kathy's really good at it too.
She is very talented.
So I try to give her nudges to, don't waste that talent. Use it. Let's see what you got.
She uses it.
Most of the artwork around the house is hers.
Yeah.
If there's artwork, it probably is. That one is Sean's. Although there's our Duncan Slade over there.
You have stuff downstairs, don't you?
Yeah. Actually, we did one of those paint nights when when COVID first hit and everybody was locked down. We did a YouTube paint night, and
was hers better than yours?
I don't know. Mine was all right. It was all right. Yeah. Before you leave, you'll have to look and tell me which one is whose.
Oh, yeah, that's that.
But we were talking improv, weren't we?
We were talking about improv.
We were. So there's lots of great games you can play. I think about like 3 genres where you start out a scene from a suggestion, and you start out and you say, okay, let's do that suggestion as a romantic comedy. Start playing out that scene with your partner, and then somebody yells out freeze, and they say, oh, it's a horror movie. Play that scene as a horror movie. And usually do 3 different genres, end it with a action, it's an action or an old Western, something like that. You just switch it up, and that can,
so the story stays the same.
You try to keep the story the same, just act it as romantic comedy, then a horror movie, and then a Western. Of course, you don't remember everything exactly, but
yeah.
And you just try to keep the general theme there, and play with it, and it usually gets pretty funny. The scenes from a hat can be great. Just the word association games can be good, but like the Herald is, people that have practiced a lot.
I loved with Whose Line. I remember very specifically when the topic was things you wouldn't say, or things you wouldn't do, like things you wouldn't do at a funeral, or things you wouldn't say at this situation.
Yeah.
Oh man, always cracked me up.
Or setting up those scenes like what was it, the news of the day ones where they had everybody was playing the different part.
Yeah, you're a broadcaster who's afraid of hail.
Yeah, so that's party quirks, or so usually you'll have somebody that doesn't hear yet, 3 people with a suggestion of what they are, what their quirk is, or something odd like that, and then the host comes in, and people are coming over for a party, and the first person walks in and they're doing their have get the shakes whenever anybody says hi or something like that, and then so the host has to figure out what each person is. So those are always a blast too.
I think improv is another part of improv that I think about is like rap. Just
like the freestyle rapping.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, to be able to come up with those the lyrics, when a lot of it is premeditated. There, they have not stuff that they've written beforehand, but they know what rhymes with certain things. Then they practice it. But what a skill!
Yeah,
to be able to rap, and like rap battles, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think we already talked about Whose Line a bunch, but the idea of Wayne Brady, when he used to come up with songs,
do the music once, and
oh my gosh,
we had a guy in our intensive that came. His big purpose for coming was doing musical improv. He did the week-long intensive with us, and then he was staying for another week to do a musical improv one. And he was hoping to meet the girl there that played for Whose Line. She worked there, still teaching. Laura Hall.
Yeah. She's phenomenal.
Yeah, and he was really good. He actually did some improv. He was playing it. They had a small piano up there, and he'd get up there and play the piano, and we'd do some improv.
Was Laura there?
Laura, not then. she was training there at times. I never saw her.
But she's part of that.
Yep. Yep. Because they'd have groups. They had different teams that did different styles of improv. Like with the Herald, there's a one called a La Ronde, and I can't remember exactly how that goes. I'd have to look at my notes that I didn't bring with me. But they do improvised Shakespeare. They had one team that did that.
I'm curious in maybe just talking about some of the people that in our community.
Yeah.
There must be a few people that stick out to you that are natural, that do improv pretty well, that have been on stage next to you or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you think of someone and what they do that makes them a good
can you breathe?
Improvisationalist? What?
Can you breathe?
Most of them breathe. Yes.
Yep. Yep. Anybody can do this. I mean,
no, not anyone can do it.
Sure.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
Sure. I mean, you've got to want to have the desire to do it. I mean, somebody who's, one of those extremely stage fright types, probably wouldn't want to do it. But if you have a desire to do it, you can do it. It's all about practice. Like you say with the rap battles, they're freestyling at the moment, but it's because they've been practicing rhyming and just running and writing down lyrics and stuff for, it's that behind the scenes stuff that prepares them for that. And it's just about playing the games and following the rules. If you can follow the rules, you can do it.
I'm reminded of our first episode that we did, the maximum effort.
Yep.
We talked about some people that just like to show up.
Yep.
Play the part they need to do and then leave.
Yep.
And there's really not a ton of room for that in improv.
Well, I mean, there's those people that do. They just show up. But usually, people, they want to do that. They want to be there because a lot of people get scared from it, from thinking improv. Oh my God, I can't do that. I can't be Ryan Stiles or Colin Mockery up there. Well, nobody wants you to.
Yeah.
We already get those guys.
So how do we, because I think that's the biggest thing, separating it from the, not the stigma, but what we think of when you hear improv. So how do we encourage people to open up their minds towards it?
Yeah. Just give it a try. I mean, if you ever had interest in it, give it a try. You're going to have fun, and, you're going to try something new, and, you just go for it. My whole thinking testimony of being here in a community theater podcast is because I finally just went for it.
Yeah.
And I kept going for it. And, I mean, I guess you got to want to do that, but if you do, then just do it. Nike was right.
Right. So there's a whole other thing, improv opportunity coming up this year that we really haven't talked about too much.
Yeah.
We have the Telltale Talks.
Right.
And a lot of that is going to be improv.
Yeah.
Or loose direction.
But it is.
For the most part, I want it to. So I talked a little bit about it before on the podcast, but the show premise is you have one person in a chair sharing these urban legend stories.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a doorway, and out of this doorway unfolds the story. There's going to be 6 people that are responsible for their body language and their actions, acting the story out with quick movements and with quick, I want everything to feel very campy and quick, and it's not meant to be super scary, but any type of scare factor or creepy factor is going to come from their body language.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to get some of your input and insight with that. And I don't know, I'm a little hesitant to that's going to be happening right during Jekyll and Hyde, and
right.
So I'm hesitant to cast it necessarily, because I'm sure that there are some people that would want the the experience of the main stage show.
Yeah.
But I think it's a very exciting opportunity for us to do something that we haven't really ever done before.
Right. Right. And I think it's minimal rehearsal because, again, if you kind of improvise it, you just got to get a little bit familiar with the material.
Yeah, as long as familiar with the material, familiar with that idea of your body language, your emotion is what's driving.
So they go into that being present in the moment, listening to that narrator, and only listening to that narrator and following that story along. And I think
in the show, in what I've written, the actors that come out stay stoic the whole time.
Yep.
So there's no it's all based on their body language, not their emotion. The only emotion is going to come from that person reading out of the book.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm pretty excited.
Yes, you need to get me the.
I know it's just not 100% finished, and I just want it to be, but I do need to get it to you.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm so thankful that you agreed to produce it with me.
Of course,
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah,
and hopefully the weather is good in that time period.
Yeah,
I'd love to do outside at 290 on their patio.
Right,
the garden would be wonderful.
The garden would be really cool because that'll be spooky that time of year too.
Yeah. So
it'll be getting dark then. They might still have the jack-o'-lanterns out. It's a great spot.
So hopefully we can piggyback off of what you are doing with Improv.
So yeah, we try to get some Improv going, and we get to see what we can get going for a group, and those might be the ones to do the acting part.
That would be super exciting to be able to build off of that.
Yeah, yeah, and we could put that into the plans of just kind of not necessarily, just have a narrator and then people playing off of that.
It would be exciting
about anything.
It would be something that it would be exciting to work towards.
Yeah.
I can't figure out who I want to be the one sitting in the chair though.
No.
Been pretty rough. I've never been able to picture who I want doing it. Because I almost want them to be like, I'd love to, maybe one of the deaths happens in one of the stories and that person looks up and like smiles at the audience. Like, I don't know. At one point I wanted my dad to be the person. He's got he's great at telling ghost stories, and scary stories. He used to tell us about the man with a golden arm. He told us a story about apparently there was a watchtower, and apparently there were teenagers went up in the watchtower, and some crazy things happened, and they all bad things. And anyway, he just has a knack for scary stories. But one is the story of Rattlesnake Jack.
Rattlesnake Jack.
So Rattlesnake Jack. I learned about Rattlesnake Jack one time. We were on a camping trip and we got rained out. The river flooded. We were in tents. We had to get out of the tents, and the road was washed out.
Oh no!
So we had to stay the night in my dad's little car. I remember halfway through the night, it was raining so hard that it was flooding the floorboards of the car. That's how high the water got, and there was water in the. And halfway through the night, I'm probably 7, and Daddy, I gotta go pee. And my older brother's in the back seat, and Dad, I gotta go pee. And my dad goes, John, you're on your own. So I went out, and it's downpouring, and and did what I had to do and ran back in the car. But the reason that it was so scary is that right before we went to bed, my dad goes, have I ever told you guys the story of Rattlesnake Jack? Rattlesnake Jack was this outdoorsman, and he used to catch rattlesnakes, catch other animals, and he would eat the rattlesnakes, and you make jewelry and stuff out of the rattlesnakes in New Hampshire. And people used to go up to his cabin and take pictures with him, and buy his little trinkets. And one day they went up to see Rattlesnake Jack in his cabin, and his rattlesnakes, they were all gone. It was like nothing ever happened. Like he just disappeared forever.
Wow.
And my dad goes, and Rattlesnake Jack, it's been told that when you look out the window of a car on a rainy night. Rattlesnake Jack might be in the woods. I don't know why he did it. I don't know why he would do it. Here we are, 7 and 9 years old. We're in the worst experience we've ever had to that point. There's rain everywhere, roads washed out, and yet Rattlesnake Jack could be right out there. I remember the whole time looking into the woods, going, "Son of a gun, Rattlesnake Jack's gonna get me."
I love your dad's sense of humor.
So if I could have that shared, during Telltale Talks, if I could get that, that's the emotion I want.
Yeah,
I want the audience to have Rattlesnake Jack going to be
a little sadistic, maybe.
But my dad did everything he was always busy, worked a lot.
Yeah,
but he always did stuff to try to entertain us.
Yeah,
my dad's king of dad jokes. I mean, like, the guy never stops.
Yeah,
and he did this thing when we were kids that my mom would say, for instance, if you don't stop that, I'm going to hit you with a bat. And my dad goes, "Oh, that's that thing that you would use to, that's the thing that you put on your head, and no, that's a hat. Oh no, okay. Oh, that's that little bug that goes in the garden, and you find it, and no, that's a gnat. Oh, and he would go on for, I mean, like 10 minutes, and they still do it now to this day. But oh, that's that thing that no, and he was just the king in my eyes of just being able to come up with anything right on the fly. And so I don't know.
You think he'd do it?
I think he would. I think if he's always wanted an experience, on stage and stuff and that's such a small commitment that I think he would do it.
Yeah.
But thinking about you and improv and all that, I definitely get my love of that from him.
Yeah.
So, and he's never done anything on stage, really. I mean, he did some church events.
Yeah.
I know that we grew up in my teenage years. We went to a church, Aaron's church, that he works at. 300 people in the church, and they had this thing every year called Car Care, where single women, single mothers, they could bring their car and get oil change stuff, basically everything short of an inspection sticker. If they need brakes, fix it, rust, they take care of it. And the church paid for it all.
Wow.
But my dad's a mechanic. My mom my mom usually does ministry stuff or outreach. And in the front of the whole church, my mom comes in with coveralls, covered in grease, her hair tied up, tools in her hands. And, this is before she was a little bit heavier at this point. And she comes out and, who's your car to work on? My dad comes out in heels, floor length dress. He's got it all padded up. He's got the makeup on and oh yes, I need help on my vehicle. And has just never been scared to, we were at Disney World and they brought him up on stage, put him in fairy wings. Just the guy's unstoppable. So yeah, now I can see him doing it. I'm excited to ask him. I haven't sprung it on him yet.
Yeah.
But he'd be perfect.
Yeah. And give him the books and let him get.
The reason I talk about him so much though is that before you did Wizard of Oz, I kind of get the vibe that it was always on your thought pattern you're a performer.
Yeah.
You performed with your band for a lot of years before that.
I'd been doing the band for about 10 years at that point.
And even your persona, hanging out with people, like you enjoy making people laugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did
I get that from my dad?
Well, yeah. I mean, what's your background in that?
Not real. I mean, my dad was a bit of a performer. He was a bass singer, and my mom would play piano, and they were very much into the church as well.
Yeah.
And they sit around the piano, and Daddy sang bass, Mama sang tenor. Me and little brother just joined right in there.
That's awesome.
the old gospel stuff.
Yeah.
So he was really good at that, and he was a super outgoing guy. But I mean, to me, he was the disciplinarian too. So
Sure.
I always had a little bit of a healthy fear of him. Not really fear, but he was always great. But
there were those years for me too.
Yeah. and then he became a grandfather and turned into this big cuddly old teddy bear.
Melts him. Oh man.
But he was always loving being up on stage. He ended up being the assistant pastor at the church, so he was always up on stage, and my mom played the piano at the church, and I was the youngest of 5 boys, so I had to stick out somewhere where I could. And yeah, I don't know, Dad was part of it, and then I just wanted to be something to make him proud always, so I tried for that. Yeah.
It's interesting. Doing music and doing all that is the farthest away from my family does race cars and mechanic. I mean, they're always in the garage. My little cousin, he's 13 or 14. He's grew up the way that I should have grown up, is what I say.
Yeah.
He's always in the garage doing stuff with his dad. And I was never interested in any of it. My
dad was mechanic at Ripley and Fletcher and was service manager there before he got done. But I could pump my gas, change the oil. That was about it. He never wanted me to do that.
It's crazy that, I don't know, that pressure was never there for my dad.
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't try to get me to do it.
I wish now that I would have done more with him, because that's where his love is.
Yeah.
And I try now, but it's crazy. He never ever pressured me. He was always super supportive of everything. And I don't know, I give a lot of credit to him. So.
Yeah. He's a good man. You should.
Yeah. Some of that.
Yeah. And maybe it was because I could never hold the flashlight right.
Really?
When your dad's working on the engine and he says, hold the flashlight, and I could never get it in the right place for some reason. Will you just put it down?
I think I have stories of that too. Yeah. His big thing was, or still is, but when he's welding, don't look at the welder. It's like, it's a new thing. Like, okay. Yeah. I'm going to get blinded. You always wanted to look at it, just to tempt it,
right?
Just to see if you were going to actually get blinded.
Yeah. But I've looked at it. I'm here to admit today, I am not blind.
Blinded by the light.
Momentarily, you get that little spot, just like looking at the sun. You get the spot, but I was not blinded. So I'm here to disprove.
Sorry, Dad. But no, I talk about him and get excited about it, but that's where I think that's where my love of like sarcasm and wittiness.
Yeah.
My dad is very seldom straight.
Yeah.
Very, very seldom like, not goofy. So Rachel family's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Her family's not as, I feel like they're a little more serious.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we weren't very serious. There could be moments, but I think it was television more than anything that influenced me, the stuff we love to watch, because a lot of times we'd be sitting in front of the TV at supper time, and watching Starsky and Hutch and MASH, of course, and all those, those shows on cable at supper time. So many different Good Times and Jeffersons. And
how do we take what we are passionate about? And then you're obviously super passionate about improv. How do we continue to incorporate? Because I'm excited to see where that goes. I'm excited to take what people already have in it and see how they can add to it with improv. But how do you see it? How do you see it going from what you have envisioned to? What's the next step?
I never think about it too much, I just, let's do some improv and let's see where it leads. It could be a lot of things, it's more, it's another skill that people are going to learn to, so we can keep building that community theater family and community that want to, put on shows and, come up with new ideas, how to put on those shows and where to put on those shows, and
was there a lot of support when you started talking about improv?
There was some, yeah.
It was pretty much open arms.
Yeah, everybody was like, great, go for it. No, not many people are like, here's how you do it. So I've just been kind of winging it, you know.
I really the first person to kind of.
Kelsey was some, but then Kelsey went off, got married, moved away. So, you know, Kyla Rose, who I'd want to get on this show at some point. Kyla Rose Dubois is someone we met during One Acts. She came and did a show with us. Super talented actress, comedian, improver. She's doing that. She did a lot of online stuff during the pandemic, and has gotten into doing some of these kind of old time radio hour readings, you know, but doing other improv shows, and she's making a movie right now. She was an extra in the Ghostbusters movie with the girls, Kristen Wiig.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Did you see that movie?
I did, and I saw her in it. It wasn't Ghostbusters. It was tough. It was all right. I can enjoy a movie on its own merits, but I mean, it wasn't really Ghostbusters.
I almost wish that because the cast was great. It was absolutely. The cast was awesome. I wish
amazing.
that they could have even stayed in the same universe, just not been Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, or maybe I don't know. It was different, but
I saw an idea for that movie where they played the women. They were 4 women that lived in an apartment building being plagued by ghosts.
Yeah.
Set in the same time as the Ghostbusters movies, but you never saw the actual Ghostbusters actors. You heard them in the background and you saw the flashing, but they were there during the original. I thought it would have been a hilarious take on it.
Could have been.
Like a Ghostbusters 1.2, 1.5.
Yeah.
You know, like a in between.
Yeah.
But
so I don't know where we can go with improv, but you know, we could start getting sketch ideas out of it and see where that goes. You know, start getting some original stuff out there instead of just.
I'm excited for your passion behind it. I feel terrible that that it got cut short, but
I would love to see where it would be at now if COVID didn't happen.
Yeah,
it really set me back on it for a while, but
well, I'm excited to know that you did get completely shut off of the idea. So
I did for a while, but as hope springs eternal, as the world started getting back to normal, I started saying, maybe we can do this. And then Laurie started lighting the match there too, saying, hey, I can help you with that. So, I mean, and anybody else who wants to come help with that, let us know here at the Backstairs Podcast. We'll be sharing the social media stuff too, as we get improv back on the road.
Well, very exciting. Thank you for bringing your passion back, and can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, sure. It's going to be fun. No matter what, it's going to be fun because it's what I like.
Because it's what you like. And what did it say? The truth of comedy.
The truth in comedy.
Truth in comedy.
Yep.
But the truth of comedy is that it doesn't always need to be funny.
No, just needs to be honest. Because the honesty is, the truth. Truth is stranger than fiction. Truth is, it's the funny stuff. When John gets rear-ended and loses his phone and buys gas station Pellegrino.
Yeah. Not going to live that one down for a little bit. Well, Aaron, I hope you enjoyed your time at Clue rehearsal tonight.
On stage, Clue
on stage.
Yeah.
And Janelle, you're a little woman.
She is a little woman.
But she's
mighty.
Also a little woman.
She is a little woman in a little woman play.
Little Women play.
Little Women.
Little Women.
She's one of the Little Women.
I always get
She's
a kick.
the Little Woman.
She is. I always get a kick out of on social media when someone goes like and not to slight any woman that's doing this at all, but I'm a strong, independent woman. when they refer to themselves as a singular woman,
yeah,
I get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I've shared my thought with Janelle, and she also gets a kick out of it too. She agrees. Yeah. She does. Anyway, yeah. So that was improvising.
We improvised an entire podcast.
Oh, something like that.
Had no idea what we were talking about,
and
we still don't.
Yeah, we don't. But thank you for sharing, and
my pleasure.
I'm excited to hear what comes in the future.
All right. Hey, and if you're interested, let us know.
Yep.
We'll keep your eyes out. Come on out. Give it a try. It's a blast. And it's going to be just fun.
Fun. Well, this was fun.
I had
a blast.
It was a good time.
It was.
It was very nice.
It was different.
Yep.
But it was good. We got a lot done, or nothing done.
Maybe. All depends on how Aaron edits it.
Right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for editing. Thanks for being the best audience that podcast guys could have. And this has been another episode of the Backstairs Podcast.
The Backstairs Podcast.
This has been the Backstairs Podcast. You can stream the audio or video format of this episode anywhere that you listen to your podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at The Backstairs Podcast. Send us an email at thebackstairspodcast@gmail.com. Redacted!